making our love worse. You're breaking my heart with every breath you take. I pray.
Good morning. Surprise.
I need your lips to keep.
Let's go. Good dino. I've done part of this. Am I logged in? That's the problem. I'm not logged in. It's loud. Look, it's loud. I may not be able to study with this music. What's that? There's to continue. No, that's not it. What is... honey. That means you haven't been asleep yet. Good morning. You caught me taking a bite of my waffle. How are you doing?
Tani-Far3 says I may have just flown in from New Zealand.
Ah, that's right. I hope you enjoyed your trip.
Tani-Far3 says in a hotel and going to get sleep shortly.
Nice.
Tani-Far3 says oh I had the craziest layover. Hack the Planet says howdy.
What do you mean the craziest layover?
Tani-Far3 says I'm had one.
Good morning, Tagora.
Tani-Far3 says I had 1 hour in lax.
I'm not sure that's enough time. Is that what you mean?
Tani-Far3 says so I decide to have sushi out of the airport.
Uh-oh.
Hack the Planet says bold choice at LAX.
I don't know. I think that's a toss-up.
Tani-Far3 says 10 meters driving, 40 minutes eating, 10 meters drive back, straight through security, into airplane.
Oh my god.
Tani-Far3 says no problem.
Layovers make me nervous. Hi, Leon.
Tani-Far3 says that was straight out of customs to an Uber Black. Hack the Planet says you'll never do that again. I wouldn't have chanced it with LA traffic but good on ya. Tani-Far3 says they do curbside pickup.
At the airport. Oh yeah, they do. We did that once too. Come here. I can't pet you down there.
Tani-Far3 says yeah it was a bit of a gamble, I checked traffic conditions.
What? Yeah, airports is one of those things I'm so nervous over. I don't do enough of it though.
Tani-Far3 says sushi place was amazing though.
It was good? Okay, good.
Hack the Planet says living life on the edge, before an international flight no less.
I wouldn't do it for
Tani-Far3 says yeah I fly
like Pittsburgh
so I
or
don't get stressed.
Cleveland Airport.
Hack the Planet says that cat is living his best life.
He usually stops me in the hallway to pet him. And if he doesn't do that, he usually stops me. after I make my waffle.
Danny Far 3 says,
If there's any cats in
hallway
the hallway,
cats.
you better get to stepping. And he hasn't done that. So he came all the way down here. Yeah, I'm not getting sushi. Gas station
Danny
or an
Far 3
airport
says
like in
kitties are
Cleveland.
great.
He's pretty good. I could do without the dog being scared of him, though. Why is not working? This may be too much. This is too much for me to study.
Danny Far 3 says this place was extremely good, so was worth it. Hack the Planet says, yeah, I had incorrectly assumed you meant airport sushi. That would have been a bad story.
Well, but overall, Tawny, your trip?
Danny Far 3 says, yee, smiley face, I try to avoid airport sushi. Danny Far 3 says, unless it's Tokyo airport sushi.
Yeah, see, I did this. It didn't... Tokyo airport sushi. Yeah, I bet that's some good eating. Tagore, I saw you were live yesterday.
Danny Far 3 says, BTW, if you ever fly in South America, avoid the egg salad sandwiches in airports.
Good looking out. That seems wise. That seems wise. Yep, I hope you enjoyed your trip overall. I don't know if you've been there before. New Zealand, like just that picture of that airplane from you flying your airplane was beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, how was the stream yesterday, Tagore? I didn't get a chance to watch it because it was celebrating Small Beanie Hacker's
says,
birthday.
Lots of times. Was amazing though.
Good. Authentication and authorization. Authentication, the process of proving that a person is who they say they are. When someone purchases an item with a credit card, they may be required to show an additional form of identification. This proves that they are the person whose name appears on the card. In this example, the user may show a driver's license that serves as a form of authentication that improves their ID. When you want to access a computer device, you'll encounter similar type of authentication. You may get asked to enter a username and a password. The username states who you are, but by itself isn't enough to grant you access. When combined with the password, which only that user should know, it allows access to your systems. The username and password together are a form of authentication. Authentication is sometimes shortened to auth-n. Authorization. Once you authenticate a user, you need to decide where you can go.
Getting sleep. Take care.
Good night, Tawny. Thank you. Will do. You too. Authorization. Once you authenticate a user, you need to decide where they can go and what they're allowed to see and touch. This process is called authorization. Suppose you want to spend the night in a hotel. First thing you'll do is go to reception to start the authentication process. After the receptionist has verified who you are, you're given a key card and you can go to your room. Think of the key card as the authorization process. The key card will only let you open doors and elevators you're permitted to access, such as for your hotel room.
It's Hap says hi.
Hi, it's Hap. How you doing? In cybersecurity terms, authorization determines the level of access or permissions an authenticated person has to your data and resources. Authorization is sometimes shortened to auth-z. Define identity as the primary security perimeter.
It's Hap says I'm doing fantastic. Passed first interview and got to the technical interview smile. It's Hap says how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Good to hear about passing the first interview. And now you're on to the technical interview. What is the interview for? Gosh. Absolutely decimated my thumb
says
this
it's
past
for a
week.
software development role.
Okay.
Back end.
Very cool. Well, it's Hap. Do you know when the next phase is coming up?
It's Hap says whenever I finish the take-home assignment, smile.
Oh, geez. You have a take-home assignment?
It's Hap says yup.
Oof. Coffee, hot.
It's Hap says it's pretty hard because I don't know the branch that well and there is a lot of terminology.
You don't know the branch. What do you mean by that? Meaning there's like their software.
It's Hap says like industry.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, with Take Home, you can Google that stuff, right? You can search and look it up. Digital collaboration has changed. Your employees and partners now need to collaborate and access organizational resources from anywhere on any device without affecting their productivity. There has also been an acceleration in the number of people working from home.
I have done that, and they are AI friendly, so I use that as well.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, you got this, right? You got this.
It's Hap says hell yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear. Enterprise security needs to adapt to this new... so when do you have to have it in? Is it a take home assignment? You have to have it like a certain amount of time? Enterprise security needs to adapt to this new reality. Security perimeter can no longer be viewed as the on-premises network and now extends
it's Hap says I don't know, they haven't set a deadline.
Okay. Okay.
It's Hap says I guess the sooner the better.
Yeah. I was going to suggest if I would set a timeline for yourself to get it back to them sooner than later. I think I need a new band.
It's Hap says I also have studies as well, so it's hard to balance.
Yeah, it always is. Never gets easier. Earlier, maybe. Gets earlier, not easier.
Peanut Gamer 9 says it's way too early for this LOL. How's it going?
Good, Peanut Gamer. How are you doing? No, not early enough. I started a little bit. Actually, I'm not even supposed to be streaming today, but I wanted to keep on this. I wanted to keep on my schedule to get myself up.
Peanut Gamer 9 says, why are you in IRL category?
I thought I'd change that. Thank you. Because I was going to do an IRL from the fair the other day, but I decided not to.
It's Hap says that Peanut Gamer 9 European win moment.
Thank you. Now we're in software and game. Oh, shit. Fixed. Enterprise security needs to adapt to this new reality. The security perimeter can no longer be viewed as on-premise network and now extends to software as a service applications for business critical workloads that might be hosted outside the corporate network. Personal devices that employees are using to access corporate servers, bring your own device. while working from home, the unmanaged devices used by partners or customers when interacting with corporate data or collaborating with employees. Internet of Things refer to IoT devices installed throughout your corporate network and inside customer locations. The traditional perimeter-based security model is no longer good enough. Identity has become the new security perimeter that enables organizations to secure their assets. Okay, so what do they explain it as? Software as a service applications, personal devices, BYOD, unmanaged devices used by partners or customers when interacting with corporate data, Internet of Things. But what do we mean by an identity? An identity is a set of things that define or characterize someone or something. For example, a person's identity includes the information they use to authenticate themselves, such as their username and password and level of authorization. An identity may be associated with a user, an application, a device, or something else. Well, Pennant Gamer, what are you up to today? Four pillars of identity infrastructure. Identity is a concept that spans an entire environment, so organizations need to think about it broadly. There's a collection of processes, technology, and policies for managing digital identities and controlling how they're used to access resources. These can be organized into four fundamental pillars that organizations should consider when creating an identity infrastructure. Hey. Oh, hi. Eldony? Hi. Did you just sub? You used your Prime and you did 3 months in a row? Or you're on your third month? Anyways, at any rate, thank you for your Prime sub. You get one free of those a month and you use it on me. Thank you. Am I saying your name right? Eldony?
Eldney says pleasure.
Okay. Eldony.
Eldney says you are.
Okay. Well, how are you doing today? What are you doing? What are you working on? I'm doing study for this this Microsoft certification. Administration is about the creation of management, governance of the identities for... That did not roll off the tongue. Administration is about the creation and management / governance of identities for users, device, and services. As an administrator, you manage how and under what circumstances the characteristics of identities can change, be created, updated, and deleted. None of these things are working. You just need closed out. Is that the problem? You need like closed.
Eldney says doing good. 6 a.m. Early start, answering some customer queries and investigating a few bugs. I do tier 4 customer support for a security policy orchestration company, sorting between R&D / DevOps / support.
Okay, Eldony, tier 4 is probably the real shit, right? customer queries, investigating bugs. Security Policy Orchestration Company.
Eldney says, yeah lol, I've been doing tech support for 15 years, smile.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, tier 4 is like, yeah. I didn't have that start. I kind of wish that I did. I kind of wish that I did have that start. I do have customer service background, but not like that. There's a difference between someone complaining about their steak and all hell's breaking loose and I need to print or not even print, but our customers can't access that kind of thing. There's a difference.
Eldney says, I started at 18 answering calls at the local ISP.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. People have told me there's just, you just get so much experience from that. Sorry, I got lost in my head. You just there's so much experience that you get from that. I didn't go that route. I went the very roundabout route. I've told this before, but I started in computer science at the local university. I changed my major a couple times. I ended up in hospitality management.
Eldney says, yeah, definitely. You also get lots of anger issues. Do.
I bet.
Eldney says CS is awesome too.
Yeah. I started there, and then I changed majors. Ended up in restaurant management, beverage management, logistics management, and then cybersecurity. But
Peony Gamer 9 says, I have been doing IT support for about 10 years now. Def. Test your patience at times, lol.
You're probably very, very, yeah, but the experience and the knowledge that you get from that.
Eldney says, oh nice.
There it is.
Restaurants are fun. I've started washing dishes at 13-14 and
14
worked as
here.
a cook for a few years.
Yep. You get it's a different kind of skill set. It's a different kind of patience. It's a different kind of collaborating with people. Yep. Very cool. Very cool.
Eldney says, oh yeah, absolutely. Still love cooking. Meditative AF.
Yeah. I don't do much cooking anymore. I really like doing it in the restaurant. My favorite station to work
Big
was
Spectre says,
saute.
Nerd.
Correct. My favorite station was saute. So all the pans, all the sauces. I had an open grill also.
Bit Spectre says you don't need to cook. There is cake.
Yeah, really.
Peanut Gamer 9 says this was an actual conversation I had with a customer. Me, can you enter your password in the terminal? Was trying to get the user to enroll their Mac in Jamf. User, what is a terminal? Oh, you mean the command line notepad? I nearly fell off the chair laughing. Me, yes, the command line notepad.
If that's what it takes,
Eldney
yes.
says my
the command
favorite
line
station
notepad.
was the bar. D.
The bar.
Eldney says
Yeah.
loophole.
Yeah. Man, the bar is just an elusive
Hack the
creature.
Planet says, are you saying you bring the sauce?
Every day. I tried doing like free short beers for employees. Not free. $1, I think. Yeah, I think it was $1 drafts. Then some asshole always takes advantage of it. Give me 1 minute. I got to check on Small Beanie Hacker, make sure she's up and moving around. I'll be right back.
Eldney says interesting, my dog's name is Bean lol.
Oh yeah, she's up. Dude, my brother surprised me. I had mentioned he had a Yeti like this on when we were on our vacation. And his company, that's his company that he works for. They're called Thunder Tech. They do online, they do marketing and stuff. Gosh, they were doing work at the Paris time trials. Paris time trials? Yeah, the time trials for the Olympics. And I mentioned it while we were on vacation, and he's like, "Here you go. It's bigger than my other water one, so I'll be able to just keep use this one down here, and I'm gonna put the smaller one up by my bed." I love the chug cap. My dog's name is Bean. Yep. I call her Small Beanie Hacker. When we were creating users on my Ubuntu virtual machine, she had one of them called Small Bean.
Eldney says, is that your pet or your kid?
Small Beanie Hacker, that's my daughter.
Eldney says, oh, nice.
She's up. She said she wanted her alarm for like 6 o'clock, so I set that thing for 6 o'clock. You go up there and check on her. She's still in bed, but she's awake.
Eldney says you're now?
Yeah, North America. Mm-hmm. Eastern-ish. Eastern. Where are you abouts? You can be as specific or as vague as you like.
Eldney says Ottawa.
Okay. Canada. There's an Ottawa in my state. There's an Ottawa in Ohio.
Eldney says moved from Israel 3 months ago.
Wow, that's a big move.
Eldney says Canada. Have friends in Akron though.
Yeah, that's just west of me. Just west of me. Maybe 40 miles, 40, 50 miles. Yep. Very cool. Small world. What are the odds? Authentication. The authentication pillar tells a story of how much an IT system needs to know about an identity to have sufficient proof that they are who they say they are. That they really are who they say they are.
says whether GoPro slow yo eh?
Hey, good morning, Wapen. You work today? It involves the act of challenging a party for legitimate credentials. Oh, long live Chow. How about that? We banned someone similar. Do they follow too?
Eldney says inconspicuous name OO.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't get through.
Wapinine says Theo you're not showing as live on Info's extremers.
Oh no. No, I'm not.
Wapinine says
I'll
what
have
I
to
mean
check
is it
with-
doesn't update regularly enough.
No, it should regulate live. Hi, Leon. I already pet you. What do you want? Nori's not here yet. If you come down here, I'm going to pick you up again. Is that what you want? Did you go poop? You smell like a little bit like litter. Did you poop? Is that why you came here, so you can rub your paws on me? If you let me pick you up, I can show everyone you. You want to come up here? There we go. This is not a small bean. Huh. You're a big bean.
Eldney says she probably weighs twice as much as my dog OO.
What are you doing with... What are you doing?
Eldney says very cute thou.
Wow. Black sure may not have been a good idea. Yep, I'll have to check with GoPro.
Wapinine says I think it updates hourly.
Alright, I'll keep an eye on it then. All right. Administration is about the creation and management governance of identities for users, devices, and services. Authentication tells the story of how much an IT system needs to know about an identity to have sufficient proof that they really are who they say they are. It involves the act of challenging a party for legitimate credentials. Authorization is about processing the incoming identity data to determine the level of access an authenticated person or service has within the application or service that it wants to access. Auditing is about tracking who does what, when, where, and how. Auditing includes having in-depth reporting, alerts, and governance of identities. I bet they chose words that begin with A on purpose.
Wapinin says I'm trying to think of a cheap way to make it update more regularly. Looked into an Azure API but the free tier is pretty stingy. If we had a reliable online 24/7 VM that'd be great.
I mean, we have my VMs, but I don't know how reliable they would be. You know what I mean? I get a power surge or I inadvertently shut it down. Of course, what's running right now? See, Ubuntu is running right now. Uptime? $10 days. I've had it way longer than that. Describe the role of the identity provider. Modern authentication is an umbrella term for authentication and authorization methods between a client, such as your laptop or phone, and a server, like a website or an application. The yawns. At the center of modern authentication is the role of the identity provider. An identity provider creates, maintains, and manages identity information while offering authentication, authorization, and auditing services.
Eldney says this set is a bit of snoozer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Eldney, I don't know if you've heard me complain about this before, but I despise this kind of learning and study. I do. I fell in love with cybersecurity because hands-on keyboard, working with things, trying to exploit services or...
Eldney says so why lol.
My employer wants me to get this certification before I move on to OSCP. So I have a master's in IT in cybersecurity.
Eldney says
Security Plus
says build it.
And AZ-900. Build what? Build this?
Wapinin says as you read it.
I don't have time for that. Nope. I would really like to get this thing done this week. And if I'm a hands-on keyboard building like this stuff, like looking up like when they give you labs and stuff, then yeah, I can go in there and I can do that. But
Wapinin says let's watch the video.
yeah, the video's Could be more about selling their service than anything else. But yeah, I'm getting to that. At the center of modern architecture, authentication. At the center of modern authentication is the role of the identity provider. An identity provider creates, maintains, manages identity information while offering authentication, authorization, and auditing services. With modern authentication, all services, including all authentication services,
Wapinin says a trusted third party
are supplied by a central identity provider. Information that's used to authenticate the user with the server is stored and managed centrally by the identity provider. With a central identity provider, organizations can establish authentication and authorization policies, monitor user behavior, identify suspicious activities, and reduce malicious attacks. Freaking loud.
Hi, my name is Stuart Kwan, and I'm a program manager on the Azure Active Directory team. And in this video, we're going to look at some of the basic concepts of modern authentication. Now, before modern authentication existed, you would have a client and a server, and usually what would happen is a user who is using the client would do something like present a name and password to the server.
Hack the Planet says I'm clearly wasted by the first and second party. What makes you think I'm going to trust a third party?
This is blowing my tiny pea brain. I can't, like, when they do shit like
says
this.
Get a pen and paper and copy his diagram.
Like, is he?
Wapinin says it will help you think about.
Is he drawing on a clear? Is he drawing on a piece of glass in front of him backwards?
If there were many servers,
Wapinin says client less than, greater than server draw.
Often you would end up with multiple names and different names and passwords across all these different servers. So with modern authentication, we introduce a new player in the setup, a thing called an identity provider. And what we're trying to do changes. We're no longer going to send a name and password to the server. Instead, the client is going to go and get a thing called a security token from the identity provider.
Wapinin says a host fireline example of that old model he describes. Wapinin says sort of.
Using a smart card, it might be by using an authenticator app on the phone, it doesn't matter. However, there is a contract between the client and the identity provider. We can get this thing called a security token from the identity provider, and then the client presents that security token to the server. The server is then able to take that security token and validate that it's a legitimate security token because the server has a trust relationship with the identity provider. And that trust relationship says that this server can either, say, send the token to the identity provider to get it validated, or simply knowledge of the identity provider's signing key is enough to check the cryptographic signature on the token. So actually, what is a token? A token is a signed document, a cryptographically signed document. And it contains these things about the person using the client.
Eldney says I can only watch those sort of videos at 2x or my ADHD goes through the roof.
Normally, if they're just conveying like dialogue, I do that also. But anytime they go into like
Wapinin says this
flows
is easy.
and diagrams, I have to like take it like one step at a time. I can't watch it that fast. I normally watch things double time also.
Identity that's calling the server.
Or 1.5.
It could be a device. It could be a software process. Any of these things are an identity that might be acting at the server. So claims are just attribute value pairs that are information about the identity that's using the service. There are actually a couple of claims that you're going to find really commonly in many of these.
Wapinin says if you can't handle this, the difficult stuff will really blow your mind.
Oh.
reusable identifier that identifies that identity
Handle is just amount of time you put into it.
of the caller who's using the client to call the server. And I say it's immutable and non-reusable because something like my name could change over time, whereas my identity hasn't changed despite the fact that my name has changed. So the subject is that rename safe variant that refers to me. Another claim that's really interesting, or set of claims, are things like the issued at claim, which talks about when the token was issued, or the expiration, which says when the token is no longer valid. There's one more claim that is found in most tokens that's really important to understand, and it's a thing called the audience. The audience claim tells this server that this token is for it and not some other server. Like, let's say this is server 1, but there's also a server 2, server 3, server n in the environment. If there was no audience in the token, and I received a token about some subject,
Wapinin says think of a token like a ticket to a Browns
forwarding
game.
that token to some other server and pretending to be whoever that identity was at the client. The audience claim prevents that from happening because if I ever receive a
Wapinin
token
says it has
and the audience
attributes.
isn't written to me, then I know to just throw the token on the floor. So these are some of the basic concepts in modern authentication. Actual concrete usage, depending on what kind of client and what kind of server we're using, we're going to see different exact protocol flows that we'll look at in subsequent videos. But for now, that's been a quick look
Wapinin
at the
says the game it
concepts
is
of
valid
modern
for.
authentication.
The seat you can sit in, etc., etc.
As you see in the video, thanks to modern authentication, the client communicates with the identity provider by giving an identity that can be authenticated. When the identity, which can be the user or an application, has been verified, the identity provider issues a security token that the client sends to the server. The server validates the security token through its trust relationship with the identity provider. By using the security token and information that's contained within it, the user or application accesses the required resources on the server. In this scenario, the token and information it contains is stored and managed by the identity provider. The centralized identity provider is supplying the authenticated service. Microsoft Entra ID is an example of a cloud-based identity provider. Other examples include Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, and GitHub. Single sign-on. Another fundamental capability of an identity provider and modern authentication is the support for single sign-on. With single sign-on, the user logs in once, and that credential is used to access multiple applications or resources. When you set up single sign-on between multiple identity providers, it's called federation. Describe the concept of directory services and Active Directory. In the context of a computer network, a directory is a hierarchical structure that stores information about objects on the network. A directory service stores directory data and makes it available to network users, administrators, services, and applications. Active Directory is a set of directory services developed by
Wapinin
Microsoft as
says a
part of the
phone
Windows
directory that
2000
stores more
for
than just phone
on-premises
numbers.
domain
Mic drop.
based networks. Whoopin'. The best known service of this kind is Active Directory Domain Services. It stores information about members of the domain, including devices and users, verifies their credentials, and defines their access rights. A server running Active Directory Domain Services is a domain controller. Active Directory Domain Services is a central component in organizations with on-premise IT infrastructure. Active Directory Domain Services gives organizations the ability to manage multiple on-premise infrastructure components and systems using a single user identity per user. Active Directory Services doesn't, however, natively support mobile devices, software as a service application, or a line of business apps that require modern authentication methods. Wow. The growth of cloud services, software as a service applications, and personal devices being used at work has resulted in the need for modern authentication and an evolution of Active Directory-based identity solutions. Microsoft Entra ID, previously referred to as Azure Active Directory, and part of the Microsoft Entra family of multi-cloud identity and access solutions, is an example of that evolution and provides organizations with identity as a service solution for all their apps across cloud and on premises. To learn about the differences between Active Directory concepts and Microsoft Entra ID, refer to the Learn More section. Describe the concept of federation. Federation enables access to services across organizational or domain. I just realized I'm not paying attention. Make sure nothing comes through from YouTube. Federation enables the access to services across organizational or domain boundaries by establishing trust relationships between their respective domains' identity provider. With Federation, there's no need for a user to maintain a different username and password when accessing resources in other domains.
Togglebit says raid and run, need to eat. Have a good stream.
All right, Toggle. We've got a raid coming in. There it is. The preemptive raid. The preemptive raid notification from Togglebit. Enjoy your food, Toggle. Hey. Welcome, Raiders. Wakey, wakey.
Hybrid Low says
Eggs and
SMH streamer
bakey.
spoiling the raid kappa.
Streamers, am I right? Togglebit's a different breed. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't follow Togglebit, click that heart up there. An excellent human being and very knowledgeable resource with the ability to work on something, answer questions from chat, and
Zeros
then go
Apollo
right back.
says nice shirt.
Thanks. It's new. I got it. I just got it this summer. How you doing, Apollo? Well, if you don't know me, we've had raids from Togglebit before, but I'm Theo. I work in cybersecurity. I'm a penetration tester by trade. I like making computers and services do things they're not supposed to do. By the way, pardon me for flexing, but I guessed my aunt's password convention in 3 guesses yesterday.
Scott 1969 says my mom worked for them in 1969.
Very cool, Scott B. How you doing? How you feeling? Yeah, she was telling me about how she came up with a new password, and I understood that to believe that she changed the one password she always uses to another password she always uses, and I guessed the naming convention in 3 guesses. What I'm going through right now is SC-900. It's one of the micro
Wapinin
certificates
says, I'm
for.
afraid I cannot let you do that, Dave.
I love that line.
1969 says better, but I think they may have to remove the tube.
I would like that soundbite actually.
Wapinin says, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the sound of how awesome I am. VR4 says, yo, how are you? Scott 1969 says it comes with a new set of challenges.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
VR4 says, been a while.
Bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Yeah, I think I want that clip. We have a few good clips. This is me being a child, a diaper baby playing games. I don't like losing at games.
VR4 says that my TTS settings are gone lol. Zeros Apollo says, never heard of SC-900. Is that a Microsoft exclusive?
It is. It's a Microsoft micro certification. Brom, we're using a different TTS while we're waiting for TTS.bot to come back up. Ghostbusters.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. If there's any cats in the hallway, you better get to stepping.
What else do we have? There's a couple. Oh, Kelso.
Nothing in this world that's worth having comes easy.
I gotta look at them. I have a couple. I have one or two more. Oh, and don't tell. I think I want this one too. Don't tell Jess. How did I go through this process now?
Zeros Apollo says, Dave's face in this clip is relatable.
I can't do that.
What's the problem?
Dave, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Okay, how do I extract that too? How did I do this? Nope, still not live. I'll have to go back and look. I can't remember how I did that.
Scott 1969 says, Tyson.
That's a good one. Oh, I got Sam says. That's a good one. Forgot about the ones I don't have any kind of voice, any kind of sound for.
Scott 1969
There's
says,
that one. I
looking.
forgot about Spaceballs. I got to get Small Beanie Hacker up and moving, so we're gonna raid someone. I'm looking now. Jeez, oh man, I think the last time I raided Thor, he had about 800 people watching. Well, let's give it a try, shall we? Huge fan of pirate software. Always have been. Wrong one. Please
Scott
use the raid messages.
1969 says, I had an idea about the shirt that you wanted that you could only find in small. Get it for Small Beanie.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'll see if she likes the design. All right. We're raiding pirate software. I got to get Small Beanie up and moving and get ready for my work day. Have a great day. And remind you, as always, or as I have been.
Wapineen says, laters, mate.
If you're thinking about doing something, why don't you just start? You can't make your 100th until you've made your first. Get cooking. I hope you have a great day. I'm supposed to stream tomorrow. I'm planning on it. Fingers crossed. Have a great day. Please use the raid messages. just copy and paste them. Copy, paste.
A game engine is very difficult with that. 100%. Updating the engine is difficult. It takes time, takes a lot of money. You have a lot of engineers because you have to make sure that whatever you make in terms of updates to the engine, the rest of what was already created in a live service game is backwards compatible, meaning it still has to function, right? You'd have to produce something completely different. And when you produce new different things, let's say that you do a full update and everything gets updated completely and you're able to get all these new changes into the game, you have to run compatibility tests still. Does it still work on every machine that it worked on before? The answer is likely no. So as time goes on, it becomes harder and harder to make this work on the hardware that is available. Aside from that, eventually people's computers scale beyond what they were before. So now you run into the other problem. You run into this weird issue where your game could be outdated